Next, I would like to introduce my colleague Reggie Blake, and he just won. I wish I had refreshed my memory, but he just won a really large award at CUNY at his university for being the Scholar of the Year. And anyhow, I'm going to move right into having him come up. So please come on up, Reggie, and he'll be speaking about adopting the EPAE geoscience workforce model to an REU program.
Good morning, everyone. For the next little while, I want to talk with you about a program we have at up in City University of New York, and to see how your program may be tweaked to include some of the ideas that I have to talk about. So I want to talk about adopting what we call an EPAE geoscience workforce model to an existing REU program. The folks whose names you see there are the people I work with up in New York City. And the second name there is a dear colleague who is, at this moment, not doing well. She's suffering from a bout of cancer, and she had a setback yesterday. So she's been rushed back to the hospital this morning. But just thought to mention that, and Val, just want you to know that, Val, that Janet is back in the hospital. So for the next few moments, I want to talk about an overview of our REU program at Noah Crest at City College up in New York City, a little bit about the EPAE model, the geoscience workforce integration ideas, and then to look at some student testimonials. First, our program. So our program has been around for several years, about 2008 or so we started. We are a program that focuses on satellite and ground-based remote sensing. So we train our students in applying techniques in satellite and remote sensing, ground-based remote sensing, to the study of the lithosphere, the hydrosphere, the cryosphere, the biosphere. We look at the entire Earth. We study the Earth, all the things that pertain to Earth science. We use satellites to help us to study. Our faculty for our REU program comes mostly from Noah Crest, a NOAA facility up in New York City. And we like to think of ourselves as being the premier remote sensing center in the Northeast. We have a world-renowned group of folks there who work with us, and part of their mandate for being a part of Noah Crest is that they have to volunteer their time in the summer to mentor our students. The pictures on the left are some of the students that we've dealt with. We are a very rich and diverse group of students. We're up at City College up in CUNY. We have, as I told you yesterday, 500,000 students to choose from. It's very diverse, and we fortunately do not have a problem with recruitment. So those are some of the pictures of our students. Our REU program has three main components. We have a structured learning component, we have student support, and we have visions and impetus for advancement. And I quickly want to go through each of these components and then talk a little bit about the workforce piece. So the first part of the program with structured learning environments, I put this here because someone asked me yesterday about our tiered mentoring idea. And if you notice, I don't have a pointer here, but you see we have faculty mentors, and beneath that you have postdoc, research scientists, then we have graduate students, then our REU scholars, and finally we have high school students. So that's our tiered system of mentoring. And if you want to talk a little bit more about how we administer that, then I'll be more than happy to talk with you thereafter. So in this structured learning environment, on one hand, we have a one-week orientation, we have some mini courses, research seminars, and we have some skills workshop. And then on the right, we have this tiered mentoring system that goes all the way from the research scientists down to high school students. For our mentorship, it's tiered. We have a one-week preparation period for our students, and our students have over 24 research areas from which they choose. and these are all in satellite and ground-based remote sensing. They come to us with knowledge gaps, so we have many courses in GIS, MATLAB, remote sensing, and also in research ethics. They're exposed and involved. They're involved in research seminars, and we have skills workshops. We teach them how to write papers, abstracts, and how to make posters and deliver presentations. For student supports, we help them with their graduate, we have prep sessions for them, and we help them with their graduate school applications as well. We have social networks, we have picnics, we have all kinds of social media interactions. We have brown bag sessions, we have safety nets for them where we provide counseling, academic counseling and personal counseling. So we make sure that they have safety nets just in case they are indeed needed. And our third component, we expose them to the geosciences. We have them have these wonderful experiences at places like the Brookhaven National Laboratory. We have a wonderful partnership with the American Museum of Natural History up in New York City, Carey Institute, upstate New York, and the NOAA Center for Weather and Climate Prediction. Those are some of the places that our students are exposed to. They go to many of these STEM conferences, whether AGU, AMS, NOAA EPP, LSM conferences, MAA, and also ERN. Our students, not only do they go there regularly, but they also end up oftentimes winning awards at these conferences. We have geoscience events for them. So when we have events on our campus and we want speakers, student speakers, our REU students are usually the ones who speak at these conferences, at these meetings on campus, and introduce the student body to science. Then we have presentations and such like. I want to get to this piece. So this program has been going for these years. It's been rather successful, and last year we were successful in getting an NSF-IU's workforce grant. It's a GeoPaths grant. And the idea there is to get our students exposed to the geosciences, and these students at our location where we are at City Tech. City Tech is one of the 24 institutions in CUNY. That's where I am a faculty member. Our students are not STEM majors, are not geoscience majors. In fact, we don't have a geoscience degree in our school, but we have many STEM majors. And so the goal of this workforce project is to take our STEM majors and to provide them with enough geoscience background and skills so that they may enter the geoscience workforce. This past summer, we had 8 of our students who were directly pipelined to EPA and to FEMA and to New York City DEP and to a private environmental company up in New York City, and they worked for 9 weeks this summer with those companies, and I'm elated to say that one of the 8 was offered a full-time job at the New York City DEP, and she's now working there doing a great job. So this model that I want to introduce you to is what we call the EPAE model. It comes from our GeoPath IU's grant. It's a model where we do these 3 things. We expose our students to the geosciences. We prepare them with enough skills for the geosciences. We take them through an apprenticeship period, and then we give them the experience for the geoscience workforce. So our REU program there on the left is where we begin, and I just want to emphasize to you that this is a model that you may want to consider. It doesn't take any extra work, not a whole lot. You can take your existing program and perhaps pipeline it the way we have here if you want to have some impacts on the geoscience workforce. So for exposure, what we do with the IU students, and this could be done with REU students, is to expose them to the geosciences. So our REU students already go through the mini courses and the exposure trips and the geoscience seminars. For preparation, we take them through the communication skills and the networking and the coaching. And the apprenticeship piece, we take them through the REU projects and the field experiences. The last 2 are the pieces that are really up for some discussion, I hope, and maybe give some ideas and perhaps learn some things and share some things about how we could take REU students and get them perhaps keyed into the geoscience workforce. Our main goal as REU PIs truly is to provide a rich research experience for our students. But since we're also concerned about the workforce component, maybe there's some things we could do to tweak our REU programs so that another option opens up for our students. And so what I want to just discuss a little bit with you here and to make some suggestions to you about what you perhaps could do if you want to think about including a workforce piece to your REU program. So here are some ideas I want to share with you. You can take your existing REU program, realizing that most of our REU programs only run for 9 weeks or so in the summer, and after that we don't see our students, or most of them, we don't interact with them. So what you could do is to prepare these students for geoscience internship programs for the following summer. Many of our students, some of our programs, we take our students back, some students for the second year, but most of us, I guess, maybe do not. But you could do something for them and with them to help them prepare for a geoscience internship the next summer. So one thing you could perhaps do is to give them a pre-assignment for REU. That is, have them identify geoscience internship programs in their state and in their cities. So where are the places within their localities and their regions whereby they may want to consider an internship opportunity, whether it's US EPA, for us, DEP or FEMA or USGS or any of these private companies or federal agencies that have these geoscience opportunities. And perhaps as they do this, it would be nice if we could collect these internship opportunities and these places and have a database somewhere that could be shared among all of us so that our students will have a rich resource to pull from. So if they have this pre-assignment for our REU students, and then we help our students to create portfolios during the summer while they're working with us for workforce internship opportunities and applications. So while they're doing the soft skills, if you will, the cover letters, the interview practices, and resume writing, they're creating a portfolio that they could use for applying for these geoscience jobs. Next, they could be introduced or exposed to the geosciences. We take our students to these facilities I mentioned, and they meet with the people, they meet with the folks at EPA, they meet with the folks at FEMA, they meet with the folks at the DEP, they see what's going on, they're directly hooked and plugged into these agencies, so they see exactly what it takes to be a part of the workforce, of the geoscience workforce, and they talk to the folks who are really doing the hands-on work. So we take trips to these places and expose our students to the geoscience personnel.
Excuse me,
We also...
Sorry, Reggie. I'm sorry to interrupt you. Somebody was asking me a question, and I just thought, I don't know if I missed it, but that just to mention that it's over the course of a year that you're doing this, and I'm not sure, sorry if you mentioned it.
No, I didn't say that, but the program that this comes from, the IU's program, is a one-year program. So we're trying to take components of that IU's program and perhaps apply it to the REU program. So for the IU's program, one of the things we do, we invite folks from the geoscience workforce, from EPA, from DEP, from their human resources department to come and give workshops on career development. And so they come in to talk to our students. And one of the great things our students learn is that they do not have to be geoscience majors to enter the geoscience workforce. And that's one of the great take-home messages from our program thus far. The student I mentioned to you who received the offer at the New York City DEP, and she's now working there at this moment, she's a computer science student. And now she's doing geosciences. So one more thing you can do, not only will you, should you encourage your colleagues and partners from the geoscience workforce to give talks at your location, your schools to your students, but you can encourage your students to join professional geoscience networks and to attend these conferences. Many of these conferences have wonderful professional development components to them that students can benefit from. Has anyone heard of the SHIP conference? SHPE, I forgot what the acronym stands for. Hispanic, it's mostly Hispanic professional engineers. Yeah, it is perhaps one of the best ones around for this workforce component professional development type conference. So there's some out there that students could be exposed to. And so the idea is take the REU program you have now, do what exactly as you're doing, but if you're concerned about the geoscience workforce, you could give your students this pre-assignment of getting these contacts with geoscience internship programs, create a database for these programs, create a portfolio for the workforce internship that they may have next year after they're done with your REU program, expose them to the geoscience agencies, have the geoscience agencies send folks to your students to talk to them about workforce development, encourage your students to join these networks. And here's some testimonials from students who have had this experience. One says, the most valuable aspect of has been the exposure to career paths that I never really thought of before. Another student says, the geosciences have so many branches that many STEM majors can find a career path. Someone else says, participating in the IU's program is helping me to decide which career path I want to take. Someone else says, the year-round mentoring is second to none by the IU's professors at City Tech. I honestly feel that we have the best and most dedicated group of professors. Oh, this is a shameless plug here. You can find anywhere. My supervisor encouraged me to be creative, give things my own twist, and to be my best. And finally, another student says, gaining experience and other skills. Oh, I have gained experience and other skills, and said, I have learned so many new skills that I can use in the future. So as I close here, just as a summary, the idea here is you can take your current REU program, and if you want to tweak it a little bit, the tweaking doesn't cost you much. It doesn't cost NSF a dime, and you can do this and expose your students to another option that perhaps they never thought they had before. With that, I'll cease, and if there's a question, I think I may have a few minutes to dialogue with you.
Thanks, great presentation. I'm hoping some people will come to we have a breakout on publishing on your REU, I think, right? This morning it got added late to the agenda because I'd be interested in hearing more about program assessment because the testimonials I think are meaningful and valuable, but it'd be great to see how this kind of intervention makes a difference in outcomes relative to other possible interventions or other REU models. And I was wondering if you've thought about even how to do an assessment. What would the control group be? Are you planning to do any kind of assessment of this EPAE model?
We certainly we're thinking of it. So each time we go through one of our programs, whether it's the REU or the IUs, one of the things we always try to do is to publish something about it, right? So we're working on that now for this. And this new component to the REU, we have not yet done ourselves either. Right? We're just thinking about doing it. We have done it now. We are doing it for the IUs, and we are collecting data, and we certainly will be writing something about it. There's a little piece we do there for a one-week program in the winter, and we're submitting an article to BAMS about that. And for the rest of the EPAE model, we will be working on BAMS, Bulletin for American Meteorological Society, and we're submitting an article on the P part of EPAE, the preparation part. And we have plans to therefore do a full-scale paper thereafter. So we can talk later on if you are still around about how we may want to assess this. We haven't given that much thought yet.
Just curious, do you have any tracking mechanism for tracking them post-REU into the workforce?
So we haven't done this yet again. This is brand new stuff, but certainly we'll be doing that.
What is your ideas for, because we're trying to develop something ourselves. And
that's a $1 million question that everyone has, right? So we struggle with that ourselves, and apart from just keeping in touch by social media and making phone calls, yeah, we don't have a good system of tracking as yet. So we do the old-fashioned way thus far. Any other questions?
Would alumni from your RU coming back be a good mechanism? I mean, to invite them to come back to be part of your tiered mentoring system?
And they do.
Oh, they do? Okay.
Absolutely right. So one of the things that we do with the RU program, maybe about 3 or 4, so we have about 10 students per year, and about 4 return each for the second year. And they're beneficial as mentors, and they're also beneficial as far as helping the faculty mentor advance his or her research. Many times they become co-authors with papers with their mentors. So yes, some do return. So I'll be around, so if you want to talk about what we have in our proposal about assessing our EPA model, we can go into that a little bit. So I'll be around all day so we can talk some more. Thank you so very much.
Thanks, Reggie. Yeah, the question about evaluation it's an interesting one that I think anybody who's probably tried to write or publish on REUs gets asked, well, what is the control group? And I don't know how you run a control group, really, because you're not doing long-term tracking of applicants, for instance. You're not able to do that really very easily. And I suppose with keeping in touch with people, the idea maybe would be, one idea would be to actually make a table where you track, you keep track. And in SOARS, we have a database where we actually, every year we do keep updating with people. Beck?
Yeah, encourage them to make a LinkedIn profile. If you could actually do that within your workshop, I'm thinking that's something we need to do. Because frequently we try and track down ours, and that's the best place for current information to start.
So the suggestion, just for the people watching this on the recording, is to encourage students to make a LinkedIn profile and maybe have them do it on site when they're with you, so that later it's easier to find out where they are, that kind of thing. I personally am working on evaluation with Reggie and Janet and their group, and I have to say it's just another plug for this program. It's great to hear the students saying, well, I had no idea that as a computer scientist or as an engineer that I could work on these really great, the hazards that are so exciting, and that I could find a career in the geosciences. So it's a nice way to bring in people from the other fields with this program. Okay, next, thank you, Reggie.